Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are completely leveling up your AI prompting skills. If you've ever felt frustrated that your AI outputs are a bit, unpredictable, wandering, or just completely missing the mark, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to shift our mindset today. We need to stop acting like casual chatters, just tossing random questions at a screen, and start acting like master architects. And the absolute secret weapon we're going to use to do that? Constraints. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. Blueprints for AI. 2. The 7 constraint types. 3. Chain of thought. 4. Tree of thought. And finally, 5. Common prompting mistakes. Section 1. Blueprints for AI. Structural foundations. Let's talk about shifting how we fundamentally build for AI. Imagine you hire a contractor. If you just walk up to them and get a totally vague instruction like, hey, build something, well, you might get a shed, you might get a birdhouse, or you might get a mansion. Who knows? But if you hand them detailed blueprints and specifications, you get exactly what you want. AI works the exact same way. The output you get is literally only as precise as the instructions you provide. So what are constraints? They're the guardrails you install in a prompt to shape how an AI responds, not just what it responds to. Honestly, this is the ultimate fix for those unpredictable, wandering outputs. By setting specific rules and boundaries, you aren't just giving the AI a broad topic, you're dictating its precise behavior. At their core, these guardrails operate on 2 key axes. First up, we have scope. This is how broadly or narrowly the AI interprets the topic. Like if you use a prompt like explain climate change, you're inviting a massive response covering science, politics, economics, the whole shebang. But if you add a constraint like focus only on the impact on Arctic ecosystems, you instantly collapse that entire universe into one manageable, hyper-precise territory. The second axis is format. This dictates the structural shape of the output, things like the length, the style, the persona, the tone, and even the physical arrangement of the text itself. Moving on to Section 2, the 7 constraint types, architectural toolkit. It's time to crack open your new toolkit. All right, here is your daily practical toolkit. We've got 7 distinct ways to control the AI. Length controls your word counts. Audience calibrates the complexity, like asking the AI to explain something to a 5th grader. Persona changes voice. Structural constraints dictate the physical architecture, like asking for a 2-column markdown table. Then we have exclusion, which is incredibly powerful because it tells the AI exactly what to leave out, like, hey, do not use any jargon. Finally, linguistic governs language mechanics, forcing things like active voice, and positional tells the AI where content has to appear, like state your conclusion first. And this brilliantly illustrates the power of that persona constraint. If you ask an AI to describe an event as a Victorian-era naturalist versus a skeptical journalist, you are forcing the AI to look at the exact same set of facts through entirely different lenses. It fundamentally changes the vocabulary, the tone, and the angle of the entire output. It's a real game changer. Sometimes the bluntest tool is actually the absolute most effective one. Just saying, keep it under 100 words. By putting a hard cap on the word count, you force the AI to do the heavy editorial work for you. If it has to explain a really complex topic, like photosynthesis, in just 50 or 100 words, it has to instantly prioritize the essential facts over the expendable fluff. Let's step up to Section 3, Chain of Thought, Show Internal Logic. We are moving beyond basic constraints into some advanced territory here. Take a standard prompt without any constraints. Solve for x. 3 times x plus 2 equals 15. The AI just spits out the answer. X equals 3. Boom, done. But if we inject constraints, show every algebraic step, label properties, write for a first-time student, we completely transform the reasoning process itself, not just that final answer. We're asking it to show its internal homework. Let's look at exactly what those constraints governed in that math problem. Step 1, they controlled the granularity of the reasoning by forcing the AI to show every single algebraic step. Step 2, they demanded meta-commentary by making the AI actually label the specific mathematical properties it used. And step 3, they forced audience adaptation by making the language simple enough for a total beginner. These are the micro-decisions your constraints just successfully managed during the AI's chain of thought. Advancing to Section 4, Tree of Thought. Let's get into branching reasoning. Picture an upside-down branching tree where the AI is exploring multiple paths at once. Tree of Thought follows a highly structured progression. Say you're writing an essay. Step 1 is generate. You ask the AI to draft 3 entirely different story hooks. Step 2 is evaluate. You have the AI actually assess the strength of each of those hooks. Step 3 is select. The AI chooses the strongest option and uses it to write the opening. It explores promising paths and just throws out the weak ones. So the crucial point here is that in a tree of thought prompt, your constraints have to do double duty. First, you've got to constrain the branches. For example, telling the AI that each of the 3 hooks has to use a different rhetorical device. But secondly, and this is key, you must constrain the selection criteria. You have to tell the AI how to evaluate them, like saying, select the one best suited for a grade 12 academic audience. Without that selection criteria, this beautiful branching exercise just devolves into the AI arbitrarily picking a random option or lazily defaulting to whatever the longest one is. Now, watch what happens when we put this all together into the ultimate AI workflow. You can actually synergize chain of thought and tree of thought. You prompt the AI to generate multiple paths. That's your tree of thought. Then you elaborate on each path step by step. That's chain of thought. You evaluate them against criteria, justify the selection, and finally detail out the sequence. Guys, this is a highly constrained, absolute master-level AI workflow. Which brings us to Section 5, Common Prompting Mistakes. Welcome to the final boss fight of our explainer. Let's rapidly fire through the warning signs that can break these beautiful structures you've just learned to build. First, over-constraining. If you restrict too much all at once, you literally suffocate the AI, and you get this robotic output that feels like it was assembled by a committee. Second, vague constraints. Saying, keep it professional, means entirely different things for a legal brief versus a LinkedIn post, right? You've got to be precise. Third, contradictory constraints. Asking for a detailed, comprehensive overview in exactly 50 words creates an impossible target that paralyzes the AI. And finally, watch out for front versus backloading. In a really long prompt, the constraints buried at the very end sometimes get less weight, so put your absolute most critical rules right up at the top. Ultimately, the deeper skill here isn't just blindly memorizing a list of constraints. It's human judgment. It's knowing exactly which rules to apply and how to seamlessly stack them before you hit diminishing returns. So the next time you sit down and stare at that blinking cursor, do you have the judgment to build the perfect blueprint?